speaking of evildoers, what's been quite interesting to see is obviously the Johnson & Johnson stuff that recently got exposed by James O'Keefe. So, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, give me 2 seconds. I don't know what the hell's going on with this. Why? Oh, right, okay. I fixed it now. Why was that doing that? Very weird. I had my cable in a certain place and then it was causing a lot of static. There we go. I've managed to fix it. Never mind. So Johnson & Johnson, as I said before, we covered before the lead scientist. What was his name? Josh Reese, I believe it was, admitted on camera, unknowingly, that the vaccine was never safe and never effective. The Johnson & Johnson one at the very least. And they knew it. They knew it at the time. And they distributed it anyway. One of the worst crimes you've ever seen in recent memory. Well, there's been another Johnson & Johnson employee, the executive and senior clinical analyst, David Altman, has been caught again on undercover camera from a hidden camera from an undercover journalist. He admits that baby powder, Johnson & Johnson baby powder, contained cancer-causing heavy metals. And is quoted as saying, "This is not your father's Johnson & Johnson or J&J. They really don't give a shit about people, or they don't really give a shit about people. It's not the talc itself that gives you the cancer, it's the heavy metals that are in there, as in the baby powder." So this is the video of that now coming to you, ladies and gentlemen. Again, seemingly uncovering a lot of medical and consumer malpractice at the moment that is now moving on to putting, very young babies in danger.
This is not your father's J&J. I don't think that we are unethical in things that we do, and I think that they don't really give a shit about people.
Let's see. I have to know.
When I started working on the consumer group. So that was actually the Johnson's was one of my brands. So I managed all the baby products.
No
so I actually,
way.
when that all happened, I was working on that. So the heavy metals, it's not the talc itself that gives you the cancer, it's the heavy metals that are in there.
In a shocking revelation, Joshua claimed that...
So that's, again, I'm not sure if this is specific to America, for example, but that's, a really shocking admission that they're not just openly saying. Like, I do wonder how people get caught on these things at times, that they're openly talking about these things. Like, as they say, loose lips sink ships, right? That's the common saying. But they're now openly admitting that it's... What was the quote? So let me just get the timestamp. Okay. So the quote, the thing that he said was, the heavy metals, it's not the talc itself that gives you the cancer, it's the heavy metals that are in there. So in this powder, right, in this baby powder, why on earth are there heavy metals in there? Why on earth are there heavy metals in there? That's what I want to know. But there's a little more here, ladies and gentlemen. So James, after this little bit of exposition, moves on to ask, or his undercover journalist asks, did J&J products cause any harm? I haven't watched this part of the video yet, so let's have a little look to what they say about that.
Now,
Do J&G products cause any harm? Because it's causing a lot of harm to women, right? With the ovarian cancer.
It has. Well, things happen, especially at a company like J&J that has hundreds and hundreds of thousands of employees around the world. Things are going to happen, unfortunately.
Do they believe that talcum causes cancer?
They looked into it very closely, but they just couldn't. It wasn't, I guess, in their minds, statistically significant enough where they felt that it was a, like some kind of serious type of an issue. How do I know that didn't cause my sister? She had ovarian cancer.
Johnson & Johnson executive...
Shit. So again, if you're a parent, ladies and gentlemen, you might want to reconsider your choice of baby powder for sure, and maybe check to see what some of these things that are in them that could be causing it. Because obviously these companies, and I'm not saying this is like a smash capitalism, that kind of socialist kind of retard, right? I'm not saying it as that kind of thing. But these companies now, these big companies like Johnson & Johnson and vaccine manufacturers, are and all of these things seem to be putting their bottom line before anything else, before safety, before risking things like ovarian cancer and all of these things. It seems as though their safety standards are not there. Presumably, we can guess that's because they want to cut corners. They want to save money on these things, and they're willing to compromise people's safety to do it. The thing is, there's a little bit here. There's a slide from this. This is not new by the looks. There's been many headlines here, so I'll read some of them for you now. Johnson & Johnson hit by 11,000 more lawsuits linking baby powder to cancer after judge throws a $9 billion settlement case. Johnson & Johnson hit with a $29 million verdict in the mesothelioma, if that's how you say it, or mesothelioma case, however you say it. Texas reaches $290 million settlement with Johnson & Johnson in nationwide opioid case. Johnson & Johnson is using a bankruptcy maneuver to block lawsuits over baby powder cancer claims. So very, very, very not good. I would strongly advise that you reconsider, especially if you're a parent, your choice of baby powder product. And if I can just I can't find anything in here so far that links to like the specific things which you need to be aware of. I'll see if I can find something that tells you the things which you might want to look for in a moment. And just see if I can find anything for you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so I had a quick scan through the video. I couldn't find anything that seemed to indicate the things to look out for, ladies and gentlemen. But again, the guy was saying that, again, they're not ethical in the things that they do. Again, it's all about, money at the end of the day. So, yeah, I would strongly advise you as a parent, if you are using Johnson & Johnson talcum powder product, to reconsider.